A pleasant good evening again to everyone out there, all of our viewers. We want to say welcome to Malutrin Connection platform online TV. Um, and today we are going to be having a roundtable conversation on few other topics, including the ongoing campaign, the bishopric, elections. We're going to be bringing in Aliyah. Aliyah has her general meeting today. And also we're going to be bringing in one of the a member from the men's department. The men's department had their convention this weekend, and also we're going to be touching just briefly on the just in the women's convention. Again, we want to say welcome and thank you for being there. Today being the last Sunday of the month, we want to say thank you very, very much. We want to thank God for His grace and His continuous blessings upon all of us. We're going to reach quickly out to our brother there in Connecticut. But before he can come in, we want to have a word from the ambassador. Mr. Ambassador there in Sierra Leone, how are you doing today?
Well, I want to say thank you, Willie and Joe. I think we are okay here in Sierra Leone. Um, we hope that we are going to have a very nice show as usual and as always. And the topics are all very, very relevant. And let's see what happens. I mean, it's a very good topic, it's a very good day, and welcome to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. Our dear brother, Mr. Jokai, you are there in Connecticut. How are you doing today? Last week, for some reasons, you could not be with us here on set. We missed you. We had a wonderful show, but a show without the full team, you know, it's like missing a piece of the puzzle. So we are glad that you're back with us today. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Willie. Thanks for asking. The family is doing good, and I hope your family is fine. The ambassador and his family doing well in Freetown too. Look, it's really good to be with the team today. I miss you guys last Sunday. It was quite unfortunate as soon as I logged in, and then I had the emergency situation. I had to run to New York. It's just about an hour drive away from me here in Danbury, Connecticut. But all is well. We're doing good, and thanks for the prayers. Thanks for following up with me in the process. Today, as you indicated, the show is going to be interesting as usual. But I'm a little bit disappointed that we'll keep having, roundtable discussions and we have so much going on in the Lutheran Church, the youth, the men's, the women's auxiliaries, the different departments, the projects. We have everything. I mean, everybody doing stuff. But I'm not just happy because people not taking advantage of the opportunity we've created by establishing the platform so that they will be able to talk about their programs, their activities in the church. This is a platform that brings Lutherans together, Lutherans all over the world and Lutherans back home in Liberia. If I were one of those having the responsibility to manage some of those activities, I think I would take advantage of this opportunity to be able to talk about the things that I do, in support of the church and working with Christ people, with brethren in the church. But that being said, today we're going to be looking at the ongoing campaign. We had a process started a few months ago. We had candidates apply, they were screened, they were qualified, the list was published. Now campaign is ongoing in the lead up to the election itself. How that is going on, I think is quite important for us to talk about it on the show, even though people have shy away, from coming to talk about their own campaigns. So we will still provide opportunity for Liberians, both at home and in the diaspora, to be able to share light their insights and their thoughts about how the process is going. They have an opportunity to call during the program. The numbers are going to be displayed so that people can make their calls, send their messages, and ask their questions. Again, we will also, take a call from the president of Aliyah If you don't know, Aliyah is the Association of Liberian Lutherans in the Americas. He's going to be talking about tonight's meeting. As a matter of fact, Willie, I'm going to try to be on that call tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The men's convention just ended. I was told it ended successfully. How successful it was, we will share some light on that. And then the women's convention also was held. Probably we have some information. Willie should be able to feed us with some information from there as well. And if anyone from the women's convention or from the church that have some insights to share about the happenings, they can also call in and talk about it. So we are all set, Willie, and Ambassador. We all set to go into the conversation. The ongoing campaign, that's what we're going to start with. So where are we? What's happening? What's going on? Willie, the last time you talked to us about a town hall that's supposed to be happening. And Jerry, Ambassador, interestingly, is going to be at your church, at your parish. So I hope you got some info already to share with us about the Penny Town Hall, guys.
Go ahead, Mr. Ambassador.
Well, thank you, Josiah. I think we got a plate full, and I'm very grateful, for the intro and the way in which you prepare the way for the conversation. As it relates to the issue of the campaign and the entirety of the bishopric election, it started up very well. I mean, realistically speaking, except that along the way, there are some confusions, that are coming about, ranging first from the MIMO. We talked about that before, so we don't want to be repetitive on that, but we understood how it brought some level of distress and disrupted our process. Then later on, we move on to the candidates, getting qualified, and then moving on to conduct the campaign. As we see, the campaign is going well, so to speak, amongst them. But like you rightly stated, the Malutrin Connection platform is a space provided for all things Lutheran. I'm not too sure we are not tolerant or unprofessional to the point where we are going to allow people to rant and insult and denigrate another person. We don't do it. We maintain our integrity. So we decided to offer the opportunity to the candidates to come so that they could be able to speak to Lutherans, around the world. Despite the fact some of the Lutherans, men and women that are in the diaspora are not going to participate in the process by voting because our constitution and our rules does not allow that to happen. But at least they will be able to listen to what the candidates have to offer. They will be able to participate by asking questions so that we can be able to have an insight and we can be able to size all of the candidates to know, look, I think if candidate A or candidate B becomes bishop of the church, is going to be good for us, because come what may welcome is our church. And the remittances that come from Aliyah, for example, from the US, from West Africa and in the sub-region, and going back to the church, either to support the church directly or indirectly, supporting members and all that kind of thing, you cannot underestimate that. And we are making contribution to the church. This podcast, this platform is an opportunity for everybody to come and participate. So I agree with you, Josiah. We are just very disappointed, if I may say, or disheartening that we got this kind of opportunity and we refusing to make maximal use of it. I don't know how this is going to be explosive if candidates come to participate on the platform. I don't know that. And quickly to your question, the issue of the town hall. It may sound shocking, but I will tell you guys that I have minimal or little or no information as it relates to the organization, except that the last week we had the chairman and the pastor who somewhat, was still trying to put things in perspective. It appears to be that they were not fully prepared, or they are not fully prepared. But well, we still got time and working towards it. I hope that they will be able to have a very successful town hall, But as my church, I won't be the first to say, I won't see the essence of the town hall, especially when somebody comes and say that it's going to have predefined questions, and they are going to maybe ask for a Zoom link where people in the diaspora will just participate by listening and no questions. And I don't know how effective that's going to be, but maybe Willie has an opinion on that. But it's St. Andrews, and I was very critical. During the time of the questioning, because I think that there are a lot of lacunas when it comes to the planning, and there is a need for the St. Andrews parish to really sit around the table and try to re-strategize if they really want to have a successful town hall. But they told us categorically that they are not going to take questions even from the in-person. Those that are going to be there participating in person, they're not going to take questions. So I don't know what kind of town hall is that, but that's it.
Yeah, like you said, we had a pretty good show last week. Except for the fact that,
don't forget the ambassador mentioned the Zoom link, so that is on you. You will have to tell us why probably they should have a Zoom component of it, a virtual component of it, when no one is going to be asking questions, no one is going to be engaging any of the candidates. So if in fact what the ambassador is saying is true, that they're going to have a virtual component of it, and in fact those in person will not be asking questions, and the organizers, if you are listening, you are watching, you have the opportunity to call and speak to this issue, because it's quite important. We're not going to have any opportunity for the candidates, for voters or other Lutherans to have access to the candidate in a manner and form that they will be asking them, querying them, questioning them about what they want to run and how they want to lead if they are opportune to win. So it's good for you to call and let us know what's going to be happening actually during the town hall. We really want to know what's going to be happening. Lutherans in the diaspora really want to know what's going to be happening, because this platform was going to be a great opportunity for them to be able to engage with the candidates. But I'm not seeing that happening. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Yeah. So Willie, talk about the Zoom link issue. Talk about what you know about the pending town hall. I think people want to
know. Yeah. So last week, like I said, we had a pretty good show, except for the fact that our team members, they were not in full, but howbeit the show went on, especially with our ambassador and myself. So we hosted Pastor Smokey Cockler and Brother James Moniba from St. Andrews. So we spoke, and they informed us that anything that has to do with social media, they are really going to kick against it. They are not going to tolerate even printing of flyers, the publishing of flyers. They might print flyers and have it posted at the church. That's what they were going to do, but they were not going to even publish flyers on social media, not to mention on a website. Okay, so but in a speed of 24 hours, a flyer surfaced on Facebook from the very St. Andrews Lutheran Church. A flyer surfaced on Facebook, the very Facebook that the memo spoke about. And
wait a minute, Willie, I don't want to get lost here. They said they're not going to have anything to do with social media in the process.
No.
But then they posted a flyer
within 24 hours.
Posted a flyer.
Do you have evidence?
Yeah, I have evidence to that. And very shortly, if you just give me just a few moments, I will be bringing that forth for everyone to see it. All of our um, all of our viewers, for everyone to see the flyer, the flyer that was the
While
flyer that
Willie
was
is
published.
looking for the flyer, Joe,
Yeah,
the social media is a new order. It's a new medium of transporting
of reaching
information,
out.
sharing
Yeah,
information, or
yeah,
reaching out. Yesteryears, it was very difficult for us to have even send communication. We wait for the the post office to go and send something. It reached maybe a month later or this thing. Before it used to be transported by ship. Later on the post office, and then it started going by plane. This time, you write in your parlor, Josiah. Willie is in his. I'm right in mine, and we're conversing. So you see, the world is a global village and getting smaller by the day by social media. This is a tool that we could use very effectively and positively in our favor. Why are we shying away from it and we cannot afford to avoid it? So now you talking about us avoiding social media, or you avoiding social media. You understand? You don't want to come on podcast, but you still sending flyers on the various social media.
yeah.
It's a
That's
contradiction. I don't know. I don't know how we can reconcile that.
that's
No,
the ironic
but
part
the men's
about it.
conversation. Sorry, Willie. Sorry for the
Go
the
ahead, go
men's
ahead, go ahead.
conversation. I mean, the men's convention. Sorry, that just ended. All the photos are already on social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
My inbox is full. I
Right,
got
including the women convention.
I got photos, from the convention. I got photos. I got the bishop photo, the pastors, the men. I mean, I got their photos. I mean, they are posted on social media. So what are we avoiding? What are we afraid of? That somebody will come here and sit to have conversation with us, and we will jeopardize the interest of the church by having conversation on this platform. So I think we need to engage more. That's what I think we need to do. We need to engage more. Our people need to understand the importance of using social media for the growth and development of the church, for effective communication. And we can't keep being stagnant. If you are going to have a town hall, if that's going to be the only town hall, we really appreciate it. In fact, if the guys were open enough, I'm sure the team was going to work with them to make sure that we carry live, and we even make it interactive so that Liberians across the diaspora, we have the opportunity through our medium to engage with the candidates during the town hall. But if you are not going to entertain questions, even from the people who are going to participate in person, and you are not going to take questions from people in the diaspora, then what makes it a town hall? That's the mind-boggling question. What makes it a town hall then?
Yeah, so I had similar.
You're quite
Go ahead.
right. Oh, okay, yeah, Willie, go ahead. Willie, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead, Willie.
Mr.
We've been
Ambassador.
talking. You can. Josiah, you're quite right, because I don't want to go into the denotative meaning of what town hall is. I mean, that would be elementary. But I mean, I believe that this is a gallery. Somebody saying we're going to the Palau Hall to have a discussion. We're having a town hall. It's a gallery where people interact, people exchange views and opinions and all the kind of stuff in this. And the shocking thing about it, the organizer, including the Reverend himself, Okokolo, and Chairman Anthony Brother Moniba, stated that they are going to send an open-ended invitation to parishes in the Morovia district. And the Reverend was even saying that he anticipated that if they send the invitation, the parish may not come. So I said, no, but let's look at the other side of the coin. What if the parish come? How many members? This aggregate, so we know how many persons coming from a parish or per parish. And say he estimating 200 persons in totality when it comes to the issue of the convention. I know St. Andrew, the capacity of the church, it takes pretty close to 150 persons. You're talking about 200 persons. I don't know how you did your mathematics or your arithmetic to arrive at 200 persons. What if one parish, for example, St. Matthew sent 50 persons, Trinity sent about 50 persons, St. Peter sent about 200 persons? You understand that? We're already gone beyond the capacity of the church. Then we're talking about having spaces outside and all the kind of things. So you could see that they still have a lot to do in terms of logistical planning, in terms of even looking at other details that they are overlooking. And the thing that having a town hall is that we're not against the town hall. The platform is not against the town hall, but our own interest is we are looking at quality. And we are not saying those that are organizing are not competent and qualified people to look at these details, because I think the chairman was taking note and stated that some of the points we raised, and was very happy that we had an interview. He's taking note and now is adding to the suggestion that he's been having from other people to try to see how he can do that. Why, if he had not come? But more to that, like you rightly stated, Josiah, we could have been a supportive arm in trying to see how we can be able to ensure that we have this conversation go beyond the St. Andrews perimeter, go beyond Liberia, and come out into the diaspora. Absolutely. And they are saying to us, absolutely no. So I don't understand, why are they trying to shield these candidates? What about these candidates that they think if people in the diaspora ask them questions, or even people in the town hall ask them questions, something going to happen, they're going to be explosive? Why are they shielding these candidates? Are the candidates not competent enough to defend themselves or take any questions from people outside and inside? What is the issue?
Yeah, so Mr. Ambassador, if I may just jump in just a little bit, please, and also Brother Joker, I'm just looking at the double standard in this whole issue when it comes to abiding by the memo, because when we discuss this, the memo still has to come in, because the main thing is that the reason why candidates are, let's say, they have decided to, like, not to address some issues is because of the fact that the Bishop memo came up and said people should avoid social media activities. But we've seen that in most recent time, with the exception of one candidate, like, all of the candidates are actively engaged on social media. Actively engaged on social media. And also, the very team that was here on Sunday told us that categorically 100% social media is out. But again, within, like I said, 24 hours, which of course we have the flyer here, we're going to share it. Within 24 hours, this flyer was out. And you can see right there, it says, for information, contact these people from St. Andrews Lutheran Parish, the first, bishopric town hall, and all of the candidates are right here. And interestingly, it will interest you to know that.
Please display it once more. I was okay. Picking up something.
It will interest you to know that our Lord Bishop, who was not even, his office was not contacted, like putting this, event together, has been invited and he has consented to be at the event. And this came from the chairman on that very day, the chairman of the organizing committee, and all of the pastors have agreed to be in attendance. And I just think that if you can give first of all, if you can give the pastors the opportunity, why can't you give that same opportunity to the electors or to the members of the church to just kind of ask some questions? Because I found out I also did my investigation. I spoke with the one of the pastors from a previous electoral process, Reverend Dr. Eric Molly Allison. I spoke with him lengthily, and he told me that at convention, candidate participants have the opportunity to ask candidates questions, and they are not stopped. And in fact, the election that he took part in the 2012 elections, there were some questions that were personal
but you know, they were like, that person was told, no, you cannot ask personal questions, ask general questions. I think it's more fair that way than to just say, oh, come here, sit down, listen. And I mean, I would just fast forward. Come here, sit down, listen, and say nothing, do nothing about it. We are the one in, you know, we are in the driver's seat and we are moving this. That's one. Then two, um, saying that we have the question, predefined questions, okay, and the chairman, no offense, I mean, he, from what he said, in all honesty, he seems to be like he seemed to me like an honest person, and he said that the questions that will come up, not a single person on the committee will know about it. Okay, but if you're having questions coming up, not a single person on a committee will know about it, then what kind of committee is that? Because the committee members should decide what to do. I think this, I think this is a good idea, but this team need some time. They need time to work on, to do a lot of, you know, ground covering. They need to do something. You know, I will pause it here right now. Yeah, like, and quickly I will quickly talk about the Zoom, then I will give you the chance, Brother Joker, to speak on this quickly. Um, um, you know, I was contacted about the you know, providing the opportunity, which of course, Maluchin Connection, we got no problem helping out with that. We can provide a Zoom link. But again, like the ambassador said, what good would it make, especially like for those of us in a different time zone? Okay, I should get up 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, just to sit down and watch. I've listened to Reverend Pablo before. I've listened to Reverend Zizi. I've listened to Reverend Goba. I've listened to Reverend Jennings Gono. I've listened to Reverend Orita Miller Davis. So just come sit down and listen to them. I think those in the diaspora, like the ambassador said, have contributed and are contributing to the church. So they should have a saying too. They should have some questions, like general questions. But again, the organizers are saying, one, social media, zero. No printing, no sharing of flyer, zero. Number two, uh, um, questions are predefined questions, and only the chairperson of the committee gonna have access to the questions. So again, you know, that brings us some doubt. And like I said, within the 24 hours right after our show, the flyer that you saw right now, that flyer surfaced on Facebook.
Yeah. So we have a lot to unpack. We have so much to unpack.
Yeah, absolutely.
First,
Absolutely.
First, I think the intricacies that we're having constitute a pretext of the bishop's mandate. I think the bishop mandate has created, for the lack of better word, you know, the chaos that we are currently having.
Yeah.
Because candidates are supposed to be accessible.
Mhm.
The voters and Lutherans across the world are supposed to have access to the candidates.
Yeah.
Like you said, Lutherans have stake
Right.
in the way the church is being run.
Yeah.
And if they don't have access to make the necessary inquiries so that they can determine the kind of bishop that they need, then that is not participation. Don't call it election.
Yeah.
During our pre-show conversation, Jerry indicated, and Jerry, sorry, you know, I'm bringing up that Jerry indicated, if you don't want election, then don't do election.
Do selection.
Get a bishop by consensus. Have a policy that will authorize you or empower you to you know, institute the leadership of the church by consensus. And certain people will have the authority to appoint the bishop and appoint other leaders of the church. Then don't have election. Once you decide to have election in the church, that is competition. Election is competition. And when you have competition, they have to get the best person from those who will contest. And the way to do it is for them to be accessible to the voters, those who are eligible to decide who the bishop is going to be. So we are feeling on that seriously. And I think the current situation is a complete pretext or the bishop's decision to come up with a mandate that nobody should use social media for the campaign process. And that's exactly what it means. No other way you can define it. The reason why I'm saying that, go to the flyer that was just displayed by Willie. The flyer here says,
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there. How you were writing?
I knew that you guys pick it up too. It says, quote, no pictures, no recording, and no Facebook Live, unquote. What is it? What are you going to do? Nobody is going to record anything. Nobody is going to show what you are doing to the public, other Lutherans. Even in Liberia, people, there are Lutherans in Liberia who will not be at the town hall. Those at the town hall in person, the participants, will not fully represent Lutherans in Liberia and in the diaspora. And if that's the only event, that's a single event that you're going to bring the candidates together, then why would they not have interaction with Lutherans? Why will Lutherans not have the opportunity to engage with them? And then they will leave from there and just go to elections. So in our Liberian parlance, are we going to buy pig in the bag? And usually when you buy pig in the bag, it's not going to be a good pig. It's
No.
not going to be a good pig.
Joe, let me tell you something. You know, the chair of the organizing committee, Anthony Moniba, is a lawyer, and what he kept bringing to the fray was the fact that, look, we know for the way that the bishop came up with a memo, and so we don't want to circumvent what the bishop memo have said, and everybody, so he using that as his reliance. And you know, lawyers will always look for something as a pretext, like you correctly stated, so that they can be able to have the alibi. So I understood from whence he come, so that he would try to avoid anybody blaming him personally, the organizing committee generally, and maybe to the greater level, the St. Andrew's Parish. But then, if you sat and saw your flyers on Facebook that you are saying that
And did nothing about
should not
it.
be there, then what's happening? How can you reconcile that? And then have you not circumvented what the bishop memo said? So that speaks to credibility. That speaks to credibility. I mean, we must be able to say that speaks to credibility. So how credible then is the committee when you are buying people from posting on social media, Facebook, you buying people from recording, you buying people from many other things, and not to even ask questions, and then you say it's based on the bishop's memo as a reliance, yet your flyers has already found its way on Facebook. Then what's happening? What are you trying to say?
Ambassador, I have a question. Ambassador, I have a question for you.
It speaks for integrity.
Ambassador, I have a question for you. So who predefined the questions? Willie, Ambassador? I mean, where the questions are coming from? Who predefined the questions?
Let me.
Who's going to be asking the questions?
So let me bring let me throw a little bit of light on that. So the chairman informed us and the entire Lutheran populace on the show last week that the predefined questions will come from members of the LCL. So how is he going to get those questions? It was a good thing that he came on the show, so they're going to go back and re-strategize how to generate. All right, the ambassador yeah, the ambassador could come in on that. I will absolutely.
Well, even the predefined questions, I think I understood the chairman stating that it's going to be collected from Lutherans everywhere. And for example, even us, he was even suggesting if we got some questions we want to send, we could send. But what's going to happen, this committee will have a certain amount of questions that they will take. So they're going to look among the questions and then take certain questions from there that will be given to a set of moderators that will pose the questions to the candidates. And what is even more comical is that the candidates themselves will not even cross-examine themselves.
Oh, really?
For fear that, oh yes, for fear that they don't want anybody to be personal. But the moderators are there. Even in the time, and that's the reason why they even want to,
Are they not pastors? Are
I
they
want
not
to,
Christians to know their fundamental responsibilities? To love each
they are not
other,
even cross-examining
to treat each other
themselves.
with empathy, to treat each other with empathy, to love each other, to be tolerant, to be respectful. Are they not pastors
They are not,
who will demonstrate that?
they are not even cross-examining themselves. They are not even cross-examining themselves. That was even more comical when I heard the chairman saying that. They are not even cross-examining themselves. So this moderator or this group of moderators will ask the question, and after everything, you respond, and after you respond and everything, if there's a follow-up, the moderator will do the follow-up. I need to say the moderator is in the mind of everybody that will be sitting down there, the 200 persons, for example, will be sitting down there to ask all of the questions those people want to ask, and after which, then they clap and everybody shake their hands and they eat, they have a sumptuous meal, and after that, everybody leave. That is what that's the definition for town hall that's going to be happening at St. Andrews.
Well, folks, this is Malutri Connection Online TV. We're having a roundtable today. We're talking about the ongoing campaign. Later, we'll be bringing on the Aliyah president, Dr. Dennis. We will chip in a little on the two conventions that were held, the men's and the women's conventions. We will certainly bring you some updates from those conventions just in case you have not gotten any information about them. Willie is here to feed us with the information with respect to those conventions. But just stay tuned. We are poised to bring on Reverend Zesta Yakpazua, and I think he's well placed.
He's well placed. He's the former pastor.
Any town hall supposed to be taking place at his parish.
He's the former pastor of St. Andrews.
Of St. Andrews, the former pastor in charge of St. Andrews. How he feel about it personally, and then in relation to the preparations for the bishopric election, he needs to give us his own opinion in terms of how he sees it going. And again, any other Lutheran who's following the show and think that they have something to share, call us as usual. I know our good friend Cesar Goya is following. He never misses it.
Cesar Goya is following.
He and my big brother Aaron Oliver should be in PA today. Aaron, I'm sorry if I'm just exposing you guys, but I know that Cesar Goya should be in Philadelphia today, or you guys should be traveling back to the land of 10,000 lakes. You know,
I know.
by this time. But if you are following, we'd like to hear from you, Dr. Toto. Also, if you are following, those are our committed followers. They watch the show, they're listening. You can call in, you know. So the folks, wherever you are, the numbers are there on the screen. Call in. We are having conversation about our church. It's really good being here. Just take off time. Text us. Just tell us you want to appear on the show. Whatever you want to talk about, we're going to give you the opportunity to come here and share so that other Lutherans can definitely know what exactly you are doing in your corner to contribute to the work of the church. The ongoing campaign right now is what we need to talk about, basically, because that's what's happening. We're talking about leadership transition in the Lutheran church, and this cannot happen without us talking about the processes leading to the transition of leadership in the Lutheran church. So really, Jerry, it's really good to be here today. I'm having a very good time.
Absolutely. I'm having a fantastic time. Yeah. And listen, when a leader speaks, I mean, that's
it's a policy. It's a policy.
Yeah, it is a policy. When a leader speaks, it's a policy.
Yeah.
And it speaks volume. Okay. So I have a comment here I want to share. I want to share a comment
Before
here.
You share all about comment, I don't want to lose my thought. Ambassador, you are good on this kind of stuff. You think it is proper for the bishop to come to the realization that his mandate is causing some problems in the electoral process, and it's giving people the impression that the process is being micromanaged by him. You think he should be concerned about that? You think the bishop should be concerned about that and have some real consideration?
Yes, Mr. Joker, that's a very, very critical question. But I will want to answer by starting this way to say it depends on the personality. You know, everybody has different leadership style. What would have happened if we had, for example, Bishop Roland J. Dix in this position?
Yeah.
What would have happened if we had the late Bishop Somoru E. Harry in this position? So it lingers from generation to generation and time frame to time frame, because for them, perhaps they didn't have the opportunity to social media and to have information. But if I were the bishop, I would think that I would have gone through the EC as per procedure to ensure that, since I've given them that mandate, to ensure that I reinforce, if there should be a possibility for that to happen, reinforce to tell them, look, this thing is getting out of hand and is getting explosive. There is a way for us to try to see how we can manage it. You people have the authority now. Try to see how you can make sure that this thing does not get out of hand. But not to come giving directive. Because when you give directive, for example, and the directive overshadow the committee that you even put in place to conduct the process, speaks volume. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
It speaks volume. It should even checkmate yourself. You should even have how you call it, an internal, you know, consolation, and try to see how you can be able to say, look, this thing was something that I think I did. I may have erred. To err is human. I'm a human being. I think I would just leave this to the EC, but just caution them after we had our conversation like we thought, because the EC chair told us that he was going to have a conversation with the bishop, but until the conversation can be held, campaign can go on. That was the EC chair statement. But I understood the point from the EC that, you know, we don't want to be seen as, you know, overriding the bishop's, you know, memo. That's the first thing. So it depends on the leadership. It depends on who's there. It depends on what the person think. You understand? About a process going forward. So it leads from one person to another person, and so that is about. I think, in the eyes of many of us, or in the public, in the court of public opinion, a lot of people feel or may think that the bishop, or might think that the bishop is very micromanaging the process. I understood, and we'll go there. I understood even the women's convention, and we're coming there. I mean, shortly. Again, it was a process that was conducted by a committee. Somebody said there was electric shock. And so I think after casting the ballot, or after casting the ballot, doing the checking of the ballot, people fled and they came back. But the process went on. There was no major, you know, issue, with the exception of that isolated case. And at the final analysis, what happened? Somebody was declared winner, pronounced winner. And then at the final analysis, another person threatened to protest. And was based on the threat. I understood, I stand to be corrected. When he is here, I stand to be corrected. Was based on the threat that the bishop again came up and nullified the result. So if you see that, all in the name of I will try to protect the integrity of the church, then we come to question, quote unquote, or we ask the question, what integrity are you trying to protect? What is the integrity? You understand? For somebody to come and say, oh, this A, B, and C, what is the integrity? We need to have clarity on those issues. Howbeit, this is where we are. You know, this is who we have as a leader. So,
Ambassador, I think that was a good approach to the question. And one of the major takeaways from your response is the fact that I think the bishop is going to receive a guilty verdict from the public court. I think that's what's happening here, and I just thought that the bishop should be mindful to have a recollection to be able to come back and let the candidates go out and campaign, because in the first place, these are not candidates vying for national political position, elective positions. These are candidates who are vying for a position in the church. These are Christians who are guided by principles that are enshrined in the Bible, the Holy Bible. They are to be respectful. They are to be tolerant. They learn that they have masters. It means that this is what they have mastered doing for years. There should be no ounce of fear. There should be no measure of fear that we will have any explosive situation. No, that should not be the thought in the church. That is why I'm baffled. These are shepherds who are supposed to be committed, not deceptive. These are people whom we look up to. And so if it is difficult for us to manage them, then how can we trust any of them even becoming a bishop? That, I mean, if you look at it from the larger, if we are struggling to manage them in a campaign process, how can any of them be bishop and be trusted to lead?
That is the reason. That is the reason why perhaps the chairman. That is the reason why perhaps the chairman of the town hall said they would not even ask themselves questions because we don't know what question they got in mind.
we are not even supposed to preempt any thought that there would be negative in their engagement with each other. That should be for politics.
For people in a circular area.
But this is the church.
Not those who, not the shepherds.
Engage each other, embrace each other with love, with empathy, with tolerance, with respect. That is what we should do. So while we're people who are competing, who are contesting the highest seat of the LCL, why should we harbor fears that there will be, I don't want to use certain words, that they will be disrespectful to each other, that they will not be nice or they will not be kind to each other? No, there should be no reason why we should harbor any such fears. But if we are harboring those fears now, and that the bishop is trying to micromanage the process because of such fears, then the bishop should even have a greater fear that if these guys cannot go in an open faction and engage with each other and engage with Lutherans who they will be leading, it's going to be difficult for us to even trust any of them if they become bishop. This is the issue I'm having. That's the bigger picture that I want us to look at. And regarding the town hall, it's not a town hall. I'm not even going to call it a town hall anymore. It's not a town hall because a town hall is meant to engage. It's a place where people ask you questions. Let me give you an example. I have one simple but critical question to ask the candidates, all of the candidates. And that one question, hey, Reverend,
our Reverend is here.
I mean, you are in the hot seat. I'm sorry.
That's why I'm here.
We officially invite you. We took you by surprise, but we are
HRP.
You can see the emotion with which I'm speaking. You know that you are in a hot seat right now. Yeah. Right. So I have one simple and important question to ask the candidates. How are you going to lead differently from Bishop Siangolo? And I don't want somebody to ask the question on my behalf, because let me give you an example. I'm going to be reading your lips, your gesticulations. I'm going to be looking at your approach to the question. It's not just what you're going to say. I need to determine the realistic nature of the answer that you're going to give me to trust you, that you will do what you are saying. So why do we want to shield the candidates from answering my question? I have a stake in deciding who is to be bishop in the Lutheran Church. Though I can be bishop. Una Zesta here can be bishop. The ambassador can be bishop. Willie can be bishop. No. But even if Zesta becomes bishop, Zesta needs us. It's because of us he's becoming bishop.
Right.
So why wouldn't we have the opportunity?
I will obviously show up here, answer your questions.
Well, yes. Okay. So that's you, Zesta. Maybe it's only you. That's you. But I mean, here we have a situation where we cannot have access to the Canaanites. Lutherans in the diaspora cannot have access to the Canaanites. Those that are in Liberia are supposed to go to quote unquote a plain town hall, but they will not have access to the Canaanites. They will see the Canaanites. That's the only access that we have, but they will not have the opportunity to ask the Canaanites. Zesta, Reverend Yakwazo, please talk to us about this. Welcome, but please just talk to us.
Well, I wrote a comment. Thank you again. I'm excited to be here, and I feel trouble most of the time when you guys don't bring me here. Just watching from behind the scene, because I can be having a debate. I can be having a debate in my house with my wife, and I don't think she deserves all of that. Yeah, I don't think she deserves all the.
Our sincere apology.
Yeah,
Sincerely.
Because when I normally have the debate,
we are very sorry, sincerely sorry about that.
Yeah.
But Reverend Yakwazo, you can be sure that you are going to be prominent on this show. Yeah, we're going to feature you.
Absolutely.
On this show.
Absolutely.
When I talk to my wife, and then she's like, "But what I know about our Lutheran debate where you start here with me." They started having to go there. I'm like, okay, the guys didn't call me there, so that's the reason why I'm having a debate in there. And then she said, "But you got to lower your voice. You got to lower your voice because none of those people here. So just lower your tune. I don't up for that play here." So I tell her, I now know how you understand how much the Lutheran thing can be shaking in my blood. But anyway, I understand. This is not. But let me to a real serious point. I just wrote one comment before I got in here, and I said, it is, my own good church, the St. Andrew Parish, that is hosting this town hall. I believe in the ability, the knowledge. It's one small Lutheran congregation that has a lot of manpower in terms of education. The level of educated people sitting there so much. And I agree with Jerry when he said Anthony James Mwamba was candid in putting his points through, because he wants, even if he were dragged to court tomorrow, he can defend himself as a lawyer. He was not speaking as a member of St. Andrew, he was speaking as a lawyer from his perspective as a lawyer. When I listened to the show, all the points he made was, how can I defend myself if this were to go out of context? But like I said, and I said in the recent comments I wrote, that it's laughable for anybody to think that in this day, age, and time, that people will have such event and say no social media, no picture taking, no question. It's not possible, because there will be people right there who will start the live. Even some of the Kennedy will tell some of the supporters, when I start talking, go live. And you can't take the man telephone from here and tell him, say, hey, you're not going to have security either at the church. And even before you have the security, the man will already have like 3-4 minutes of that event already have gone on social media. So, and we're giving the Kennedys a lot of tough time, because all of the Kennedys who think that the Bishop memo in some way helped them to stay away from the public, asking them a lot of questions as to what they want to do for the church, they themselves not helping themselves. Because you see, look at the headache. They all got to be running to all those big, in this day, age, and time, because they're avoiding these centers that will give them bigger airspace, a lot of people to hear them. They all got to be running to those smaller events like National Men Convention or Real District Women Convention, and they're forgetting to know not all Lutherans are seated at those conventions. But when they go there to speak, then they take their picture. I saw the National Men Convention. They take Pastor Zeze's picture. They see social media. They say you should not go. Somebody posted to social media and say Pastor Mobaz Zeze talking about what he intends to do for the church. Then they see social media again. They take Reverend Orita Miller David, what she's going to do. So I think we just hiding behind the bishop's memo, and I think it was Jerry or Joker who talked about it is good for the bishop to come back and say, look, gentlemen, I'm on my way out. Do not hide behind my white garment. This white garment and the red stool in the front with a dove hanging on it. The dove itself cannot defend you now. The dove only defending me because I'm the one sitting in this seat. But you will have to come. If during my time, We didn't have this aspect of social media or other stuff. But if during your time you got it, I don't want you shy away from it, because the church is the word as a whole. If I were to go back to school, I'll go do technology, because the word as a whole is all driving in this direction. And any leader who would not want to go this way, then I don't know where you want to go. So our people should come here. Our people should go. And who are we going to talk about? Who do we want to serve the people for? We want to serve the people who serve Jesus. Who is Jesus? Is Jesus an arrogant person? Is Jesus? No. So when we come here, the Bible says, "Let your light so shine before men." When I was altar board, that's one of our prayers.
The acolyte, man.
Shine before men, that they may see your good work and
Glorify Father.
by the way we compose ourselves, by the way we respond to issue, we can win a lot of votes from here. Somebody can sit and say, "Oh no, I heard a couple of funny things about this guy," but just by hearing him, I am moved that he's a great leader. By the way we'll control ourselves by some of the questions that will be asked. Because some people could come here intentionally to say, "Look, I'm going to that program and I'm going to ask Pastor Yagwasu a question that will stir him up. And I will see the way he responds. The way he responds to me automatically tell me he got my support. If he responds in a very arrogant manner, it's possible that people will pass me around telling people Pastor Yagwasu is a very arrogant man. He's a very arrogant man. But just by sitting here and having more than 200-300 persons watching and listening and asking all the different questions, and by the way I'm composed in responding to them, makes people understand my level of leadership ability, that I got to run this big 1860 church in this modern time. And we got to understand. I always say to people, we got to understand. I know the old people think that they understand the church different. We understand it different with the young people. But they have to understand that we're living in the time now of the young people. So they got to play according to what we think is necessary and good for this church. We're not going to be fighting one another, but we say, "Look, you got this kind of platform. Why don't we bring our people?" I would say the Lord Bishop, my own bishop, who have been so supportive to my own ministry, who I have not known like the way the other people know him. But from the day I came in contact with him, he admired me. He promoted me in different positions that I work. I think I earned those positions. But being a good leader who saw that I earned it and he must give it to me, he gave it to me. But I will say it's not late for him to still come back and say, "Look, gentlemen, the people need to know you and know what you want to do for this church. Call them, even if you can call them to, the bishop should be the one calling the town hall meeting in his office and tell them, go to the social media to tell the people what you want to do, but this is how I want you to do it. When you go there, be civil, be moderate, be to the point. If you do anything contrary to these things, we will hold you liable, but not to carry us to one church in Gaytown." When I was pastor for the Gaytown Lutheran Church, we wanted to host a simple radio station just for Monrovia district. They told us that the traffic leading to the church on the old road is not conducive to host the radio station. But now the traffic is conducive to host a town hall meeting for the entire Lutheran church in Liberia.
With more than 100,000 members.
No, we're not that estimate for the 1992 that you give it to. But if you do statistics now, we're more than that.
Right.
So see, Andrew right there could be hosting a town hall meeting for 5 of the parishes in Monrovia district. But there's a disservice to the rest of the folks who are in Bokonima, in Feasible, in Bokesa, who got access to Facebook, that cannot see the candidates here telling them who they are, what they want to do for this beautiful church and what it goes. So I think our candidates should rethink and come out here. Instead of going to convention and shouting there, this is the right place to come and shout and have all the other people listening to you. Because when you become bishop tomorrow, the same people on this platform who listening to you here will be the people who will have to help also to support the vision that you will talk about here. And remember, not all these people in the diaspora here will pay their way to go to Monrovia to the convention. So if you don't come here, 98% of these people will not know your vision. So how do you expect us to hold you accountable tomorrow when you are not doing the right thing you're supposed to do? because you're not speaking to a few group of people. So I think it's not late. Both of these people are hiding behind the bishop, especially the one with stage phobia, or the one who, when they get on stage, they're quick to change issues around and start, raining down insult on their friends.
Reverend, you laid the premise so well.
Yeah.
You established the premise so well.
Absolutely.
And it's highly appreciated. As we indicated when you came on, we had some jokes. We want to apologize to the Reverend Mother for causing some of those, kind of unusual conversation that you guys can have, because I can imagine when you start engaging her with conversation that she has no idea about what that leads to. But we want to say sorry to the Reverend Mother, and we want to say thank you for coming. You lay the premise very well, as I indicated. Here is the thing, Reverend. We have two options. Those are possibilities. The bishop can take the lead in doing exactly what we all have emphasized, or the candidates themselves can take the initiative to engage with the bishop, because they are the ones running. The bishop is not running. They are the ones who want to sell themselves, who want to sell their platforms. They don't want to be limited by any measure. They are the ones who can get together and go to the... I was thinking that's another option. They can go to the bishop. What do you think about that? They can go to the bishop and say, look, bishop, here's the situation. We feel that we are very limited without the use of social media. For example, they can even set this platform to the bishop and say, we have a platform where we all have access. We can... even if they all want to appear here at the same time, it would be so beautiful. As a Lutheran family, we can bring all the candidates here. We can have them to respectfully engage with each other. We're going to have rules of engagement. We're going to ask them questions respectfully. We're going to have them ask each other questions respectfully. And we're going to have the audience to ask them questions respectfully. And like the referee said, the essence of such engagement is to know your leadership style, your ability to lead. That will move the voters. If you don't do that, it's going to be difficult. Even people who have negative impressions about you that are not right, you are going to be a victim of that situation because you don't have the opportunity to vindicate yourself.
Exactly.
That's what we're talking about here. So, for example, I want to ask my question, like I said, I want to know how each of those candidates will lead differently from Bishop Sianglo and the other bishops. How differently are they going to lead? I want to see your emotional stability. I want to see your temperament. I want to see your leadership style, because it's going to be manifested in your response.
Exactly.
It's going to be manifested in your response. I will be able to identify each of those qualities, each of those principles in your response. But if you say somebody should ask a question on my behalf that I have no opportunity to engage with you, it's difficult. So, Reverend, should the candidates take the initiative to engage the bishop so that they come to one understanding and then they can have access to social media to continue their campaign? Should they do that?
I think
Reverend, before you come in, Joe, I just wanted to say something, and then maybe it will help Reverend answering the question. While it is true that the bishop bears greater responsibility because he signed the memo, but I read the memo critically and I took into consideration all of the sentences. One, a paragraph in the memo was talking about the bishop meeting with those pastors, and they agreed.
How?
They agreed. In the memo is there. The bishop met with them. The bishop met with them, I think, in Phoebe or somewhere, and they discussed, and then it came. They came with the conclusion that, look, we agree, Bishop, that we should not go on radio, we should not go on social media and everything, and we agree. So they agree. So the question you asking, Reverend Yakpazo, is a very good question, except I want to further the question by asking, Reverend, how do you look at it in terms of integrity, in terms of morality? How do you look at that? Are they hiding something? Are they not integral enough? Why would they want to agree with the bishop not to sell themselves?
Reverend, please. You know the Reverend by profession, he's a Reverend. So, Reverend, if you could just keep those two questions, I don't want to lose my thought to it. When you were in flight, I had one or two, things that came to mind. So quickly, if you saw me, I had this comment from brother Elijah Zina. He's the former president of the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship. And besides being the former president, he is a Lutheran, like every one of us.
You want to display his comment?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that again.
Okay.
And he said, gentlemen, dishonesty and deception has taken over our church. This is a very powerful comment. Okay. The last time when we talked about the memo, I talked about the issue of accountability. Why will if you are going for a position, you are asked some questions, you are interviewed. If for the sole purpose of accountability, everything that you say in there, you're gonna be held accountable for those things that you said. Those who are going to those who have the opportunity to vote, even those of us who don't have the opportunity to vote, we should have the opportunity to know you better. We knew you as the pastor, but going down to the position of Lord Bishop and being the chief shepherd, we want to know you in the past time. We want to know you. But if you try to hide, like the ambassador said, all of them agreed. Let's agree that every one of them agreed, saying, look, we're going to do away with social media. We're going to do away with radio. We're going to do away with that. I have all the flyers here. I can display all of the flyers that are now flying all over social media. These are the same very people that went into meeting. They agreed. So if you see me showing this comment right here, it shows that I'm not the only one who is, who has been thinking about this. That because of accountability, no one wants to be held accountable tomorrow. That's the reason why they are not showing up. And if you look at this comment right here saying, look, dishonesty and deception, that's a big statement. I'm going to go ahead. Look, quickly, I'm going to go ahead right here. I have all of them with the exception of just one. I'm going to go ahead and display it. Look, I'm going to go ahead and display them. We did the town hall. This is the flyer from Reverend Zizi talking about vision for transforming mission-driven church. It's a powerful, title too. This is the flyer here from Reverend Orita Miller Davis, also talking about vision. Okay, she also talked about vision. In matter of fact, there are several other flyers, and she also has a website, a full-blown website. Okay, then there's another flyer right here again. I'm going to show you the flyer. This is the flyer from Reverend Janice Gono. It's my own mother.
This is what? Fundraising rally?
Yeah, a fundraising rally, and this was also on social media. Okay, and this is also a flyer from Reverend Moses Goba. So every one of them got a flyer. Everyone has a flyer. So I think, and I agree with my fellow, team members, that it is not lit for the bishop to come up and say, look, even though we said this, we agreed to this, but we think there is an opportunity for, or there should be room for the candidates to engage a large number of Lutherans and tell them how the church is going to move forward from where the church is now. I think it's very critical, it's very important. And if they keep hiding, like the Reverend Zester Yakpazo said, if they want to keep hiding under the garment, the bishop garment, saying it's because of the social media, it's because of the not appearing on the social media. I think this is just deception, like our brother, Elijah Zina is saying. But I'm going to yield the opportunity to the Reverend. The Reverend is going to expand on that, and then I know we're going to move quickly on the other few other topics that we have here quickly, just to provide information. We're going to be having two other people they're going to be calling in, and we're going to be speaking with them.
Hey, so thank you again. There's no other better way to say it. I was just listening the candidates, and I don't know if all of them was at the event in Banga, but I'm told that because majority of the pastors met in Phoebe, they came up with the decisions about all of the different stuff that was said, and I think you may not have known what brought about this whole memo. But I would say from my standpoint, I know exactly what brought about this memo, because you are not part of a chat room that I'm a part of. So I'm a part of the National Pastoral Fellowship chat room. So I also saw how things were being heated in the chat room. Both pastors going against pastors, and some pastors going even through to the bishop. So when it was based upon that, all of those different rigmarole there, that this meeting was called by the current Pastoral Fellowship president, Jemini Wiggy, to go to Phoebe and have a common ground. So at Phoebe, because the guys were already overwhelmed about the different faction that was coming up from different places, they just agreed to so say one, so say, or for looking at the consequences, or for looking deeper. They felt, in my mind, they felt that they were resolving issue, but I think they were creating more harm. Because someone should have said, hey, hold it there. Not everybody on the Facebook abusing one another. Not everybody, because the issue was talking to those candidates. The main issue was talking to the candidates to talk to their supporters, to calm down, especially like in the My Lutheran Connection chat room, into the Monrovia District chat room. But even up to today's date, those frictions are still there with all of the bishop memo. I think maybe only you guys on this show who just talk about the bishop memo, and but you have not gone to put up anything that will show that you not following what he said. But in other platforms, like all of the flyers he put up, I go to some of these platforms that still post profile the candidates' pictures every day and still talking about what the candidates will do and still arguing there. So this memo technically have not changed anything. The only thing the memo has changed, it has helped the candidates from coming to tell the people what they intend to do. But let me tell you how the candidates are also shooting themselves in the leg. Because now, there was, when Bishop Siankolo took over, he launched a beautiful program that was called Just 50. And Woody knows that.
Yeah.
He came to the US and went to a program. It was difficult to explain because
To defend the program, yeah.
to defend the program, because now a lot of people actually knew about the program, because the program was discussed right in Monrovia, with whoever, then they were discussed there with all of us there. But when it came to America, the American people said, they started asking all the different critical questions about the Just 50. The people in Monrovia accepted that as a good vision, took it, and were running away. But when he brought it to sell it to people who were also in the position to give us more money to support the program, then all the technicalities started. So how are you going to sustain the program? Where do you intend to keep generating the money from? Who is going to be the custodian of the money? How are we going to be then all of that were warming for the bishop. You know, where all the costs are coming from? When I launched the program in Monrovia, I didn't get all the timeline issue, but why is it coming? Because the program was sold only to Lutherans in Liberia, in Monrovia, or in whatever place at a convention. It was not sold to the bigger Lutheran public. I'm saying this to say the Canadians are still having good time between now to the 23rd of April. It's a lot of time. They themselves, it take the initiative of maybe just one person to reach out to the bishop and say, look, bishop, I want to appear on my Lutheran connection. But I can assure you that I will be very civil. I'm not going to attack anybody. I'm not going. And if the first person just show up here and tell the people, you will not call the rest of the other people. The rest of the other people will call you. They will call you and tell you, I want. And I think somebody should be the first to take that lead. To say, look, because you will come to America tomorrow to sell one program and you will get stuck. Now, just one example I'm giving you, you will get stuck because the people will tell you, we don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but if you come here, somebody says, oh, I remember when he talked about it. And you will be surprised that when you come here to talk about some of those visions, somebody will just call you and say, I pray for you. When you get elected, you can count on me to support this. In fact, when you get elected, even if you don't get elected, but whoever that is having similar vision like you, I gave the first $3,000 towards that program. You'll be surprised to see that. But if we keep all of those visions into our belly and think because we're sending them into the first thing, some people into some of these chat rooms you got, just mute those chat rooms. They don't even read what's going on there. They are overwhelmed by the too many things that come, so they don't even look at it. But when you come here, when this announcement is out there, your supporters will tell other people. The people who are opponent to you will also come because they want to see what you're going to say that will be different from what they will come to say. But if you don't come here and you honor that memo of the bishop and don't reach out to the bishop, because I know Bishop Siankolo, he may have issues like any man living on the planet Earth, but if one of the guys reach out to Bishop Siankolo, I know that St. Andrew Pope did not reach out to him to say they're having town hall. They did not.
No.
But his wife is there as the associate pastor, so obviously he knows.
Yeah.
Obviously, she also guided them in the process to say, I think, go this way, go that way, go. So we need one candidate.
Pastor, we just need to hear from Willie. Willie, has he consented to attend the town hall? The bishop
has consented, according to the chairperson. The bishop has consented to attend the town hall. And to Reverend Zester Yakwazo's point, the chairperson, Anthony Moniba, Brother Moniba, came here and told us emphatically that they did not contact the office of the bishop. They did not speak with anyone in there. They did not solicit any opinion from the office of the bishop. They came up with this idea, took it to their parish council, and once the parish council gave her blessing, they moved right along with it. And from our conversation earlier on today, you also found out that, and if you follow last week, you found out that they are still in a state of actually making things to work, because the chairman also admitted that, and it is a good thing that they have to come on this show. You know, this is one thing I will say quickly.
I don't want us to delay. I don't want us to delay so that Reverend Zester will lose.
No. Reverend Zester is coming. I just want to say this quickly, right? A lot of our guests that come onto this show, they always appreciate the fact that by being on this show, it broadens their mind on how they approach whatever issue or project they are working with. So with the committee appeared on this show. They really gave kudos to us. They gave great deal of appreciation to us, the Malutrin Connection platform, for coming on here and getting to know. And this is what we want. This is the opportunity that we seek to provide for our church and our candidates. And quickly, before Remy can continue, on the Just 50, I want to say something briefly on the Just 50 before I lose my thought. When Reverend spoke about the Just 50, It was in Minneapolis in 2017. That was the first time I met the bishop. That was the first time I went to Aliyah convention. We asked the bishop these questions based on tangibles for the Just 50 project. It was from that convention. The bishop asked the question, who's that gentleman going down there? And the pastors that were around him, one of them said, it's Willie Cowboy. The bishop took the complaint to Liberia and made everyone to understand that I disrespected the bishop and I insulted the bishop publicly, all because I just asked a single question on tangibles. Single question on tangibles for the Just 50. When I went to Liberia, I was made to publicly accept and appeal to the bishop. Oh no, I'm serious. And it was good the Reverend brought it. I want to say something that everyone who's watching, everyone who's going to watch later on. When I entered the bishop's office, because during the convention in Phoebe, I made a pledge on behalf of my family and myself to the Zozo Lutheran fundraising, the Zozo Current Hospital fundraising event. So when I went to the compound, I went to make my contribution and to fulfill my pledge. And I went upstairs in the presence of the general secretary, in the presence of the associate to the bishop's personal secretary. She's smiling, and I think the treasurer of the Lutheran Church was present. The bishop said, "They boy here, they boy almost made me cry. They boy here disgraced me." And to be honest, when he went to Liberia, another mother, a mother of the church, I'm not going to mention her name, she called me immediately after the bishop went to Liberia. She called me that you go insult the bishop, that you disgrace the bishop. I did not do anything like that. Brother Elijah Zina was in attendance, and everyone else, was in attendance. I did not insult the bishop. I only asked for tangibles. And the question I asked was
noted.
Yeah, and the question was to help us. I said, Bishop, what do you have that I can go show out there? I might have a friend that is not a Lutheran, but when I explain this to them and show them tangibles, okay, they can contribute. If not 50, they can contribute $100 or $1,000. I can try to do that. What do you have to show? And the bishop said that was offensive. So just to clear the air, that I did not embarrass the bishop, I did not insult the bishop, and I would never do that. Thank you very much for affording me the opportunity.
So my knowledge gave Willie the opportunity to make some apologies. So anyway,
no, I mean I did not, but I mean he made me to apologize, and I did apologize. I said, okay, I accept that I wronged the bishop, and I apologize to them.
But that's and that's the point from which, and I'm telling you that we will not have the new people in this race. You also know that a lot of other people will not be like you, because a lot of people will approach them in the form and manner that is decent, and we expect them to respond to those things. If they can't, they will not have their support. And I'm saying this, in concluding, that our leaders, those who intend to be our leaders, it's about time to come here and speak to the Lutherans around the world, in Liberia, in the villages, everywhere through this media, and come and say, this is what we will do for this beloved church of ours. This is where it is currently. This is where we intend. Like I myself sitting here as a pastor, I have a lot of questions to ask those candidates. I'm interested in our land.
Yes.
I'm interested in our land. Since the late Amos Colley, let somebody prove me wrong. Since the late Amos Colley, as an engineer and a pastor, they couple of surveys for the Lutheran Church. You can't tell me whether they have done any in recent time. Members are creeping on those lands directly, taking them, and when those places should be our future, money-making, something to maintain this church, we can't boast of anything much in Total anymore. The same way in the LTR belt, those are things. Somebody like me sitting here burning my spirit, want to ask the next leader of our church, what do you intend to take? Forget about the one lane Morovia, 13th Street. What happened with all of those investments that we got into those rural places? What are you going to do when you take the office of this church? Are you just going to be in Monrovia and sit and watch those places just be taken away by members? I was pastor on the old road. Let me just tell you this as I close. And I still stand to be corrected. Somebody told me one day, say, look, pastor, the Lutheran church used to own from where they got the Maningo graveyard all the way going down there. I don't know what happened, how they lost all the land. Somebody very reliable and very old person in the Lutheran church told me, say, you see, from the Maningo graveyard all the way going up to where the St. Andrew Church is, they left now only with the St. Andrew Church.
Wow.
That's one place. The only place they left with, because we did not pay some attention to it. If we are not careful, we almost order the total land. If you go to total, you will realize that we almost order the total land. We want to find out from our leaders if we intend to launch this big university that we already say we got in the Puebla. All of those places are far necessary for us, important for us. But if my leader don't come here, I'm not going to take my telephone and call Reverend David on the phone and say, Reverend David, when you win to be bishop, how are you going to manage the land? And Reverend David, just talk to my one. In the age, days, and time, man, we can't keep doing that. So I am here today as a pastor and a little brother to all these people. I know all of them. I know all of them. Reverend Zeze here, my own good big brother. Reverend Gono, my own Oma.
Right.
Reverend Padmo, my own papi. Reverend Orita Miller Davis, my Oma, my
Right.
big sister. And then I did internship under her.
Right.
Then Reverend Goba was at my church in the time of crisis.
Right.
When I got to know him. I
Right.
went to Harrisburg 1 or 2 times when he was there. All of these people, I don't doubt any of their strength and ability to move our church to where they intend to go. But for us to know it, we got to hear it from them.
Exactly.
Don't want they say. They got to
No.
beg, go to the office of the bishop and ask him and come here. The fact that all of them can run to those conventions and the conventions are on social media, it still doesn't stop them from coming to tell us what they will do. Yeah. If they don't come, we'll technically see it as integrity issue. If they are afraid to come here, because when they come, there will be a lot of questions asked them, and they don't want to come because they think there's a big platform. When we go over there, because some people can preempt. Say, going that late with the boy going to be asking me all kind of questions. What happened to the other money that were in the budget for they want? Well, I'm going over there. And then they will not come. But you already know Joker. Joker, when I get over there, say Joker can be speaking some English word to me that I don't understand. So I'm wasting my time to go over there. No. And now when you come here, even if you can't understand some English Joker speak, he will break it down for you to understand. If you come here, Willie will put himself in the mood. I'm like speaking to them, encouraging them to come. Because if I can come here, you can come here. Come here. And maybe Willie, another suggestion I will make, if they don't come here, honor their banner as candidates, we'll find another way to invite them. Not as candidates, but we'll just call them. We can find another way to call them. Orita is currently the director for the HIV and AIDS program. We just invite Orita to come here and speak to us about where the Lutheran Church is currently with the HIV and AIDS program, how far the HIV and AIDS program is going, and what are some of the development the HIV and AIDS program making. I don't think she will say no. She's not coming here as candidate. Then we can bring Reverend Mobile Zeze, who chair the oldest church, first church, read memorial, and say, Pastor, we just want to know what are we doing at Read Memorial. We just want to know some of the development as our first church. We see our graves behind the church. Our missionary graves are so deplorable.
Well, Pastor, I'm sorry. You have already honored that option. I think you were supposed to just discuss this with us off air. You have already honored that option, so it's not going to happen. But I think you have done well. The fact that you are a pastor and you work with all of these candidates and you appear on the show, the comfort that you have on the show, the comfort that Dr. Allison had on this show, the comfort that Dr. Dennis always have on this show, the comfort that others have had on this show should give them the conviction that this is a place for everyone once you are a Lutheran. Yeah, because everyone enjoys the comfort here. We discuss as brethren. We have the conversation frankly, and we are humorous in the process, and while at the same time digging out information about what is helpful to everybody. That's what we need. And I think this is a great opportunity for them because, like you said, Reverend, one thing I took away from you, if you invite one of them right now, they are going to make sure to have all their followers to tune in. If
Yeah.
you and the others too, the fact that that candidate will be appearing, the others too will alert all of their supporters to also follow the program.
So,
Yeah.
so
And
quickly, Brother Joker.
I think somebody should be the first to take the chance
Mhm.
to call us and say, hey guys, I'm appearing, and they can come and talk about it. I don't think the bishop is going to have any issue with that, which of course is a serious confusion for me. It is
Mhm.
very incomprehensible that the
Yeah.
bishop should be the one to confirm your appearance or approve your participation. It's still incomprehensible. I don't get it because this is important for the candidates, not the bishop.
Yeah.
It's important for the candidates, not the bishop. And I can tell you the truth. If I were one of those candidates, I would have appeared on the show without even telling the bishop I'm appearing.
Mhm.
Because I will appear on the show not in disrespect, but I appear on the show to make myself proud and
Mhm.
make the church proud
Mhm.
and then promote my campaign. Because I will be coming here not to denigrate anybody, not to come here and say things that contravenes, our
Mhm.
models of operation in the church.
Yep.
I was going to come here to make sure that I stay, in concert with all of the rules of the church, making sure that I can promote my candidacy, making sure that I can encourage the church to vote for me and why to vote for me. That's a great opportunity. I think you
Yeah.
should take advantage of that, the fact that you are here today, Reverend.
They should. They
Yeah.
should.
So again, Reverend, like Brother Joker just he mentioned earlier on that we are gonna have you regularly on the show as a contributor. You're gonna be here regularly.
Don't
Uh, you know,
forget, you're still supposed to bring me back to discuss my decentralization plan with you.
no, that is something we
Reverend,
definitely
when do
want to
you want
bring
to
you
come
on.
on?
I am open to your schedule.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
good.
I don't
Then
work
we'll
on
send you,
Saturdays
we'll
and
send you the
Sundays.
invite.
So
Okay. So
yeah.
we will definitely send you the invite, and also just to inform everyone that we send out invitation to all of the candidates and to their email address and also to their personal Facebook Messenger inbox. We screenshot the letter and send a PDF copy to every one of them. So we again we want to thank our Reverend for joining us. We're going to make sure to follow up just to have them if they come and say look because you know if they tell us that that is an election issue I don't want to talk about, well, we'll find other things, other topics to talk about. Like the Reverend said, either HIV or the BMTE, like Reverend Zizi. I think he's the secretary of the BMTE. So we're gonna find other means to talk to them. But quickly, we're gonna bring in um we have two more topics quickly to just we're not gonna go too much in depth with them. But
I
we're
think we
gonna
should,
quickly
before you bring the person on, we should give Reverend the liberty. If he wants to stay on, he can stay on. If he wants to
yeah
leave, he can leave at any point in time. He can stay on, but if he wants to leave, he should be able to leave at any point in time. So if he has closing statement, he can make it if he wants to leave now.
we
Otherwise, Reverend can stay
right.
with us, until we close.
Well,
In the next 10 minutes.
yeah,
for the next
I'm
10
excited
minutes.
to be here, man.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Good to see Jared. It's difficult to see Jared, but it's good to see him.
Yeah. So
HPRC.
Ravi, we're gonna be talking briefly. We have brother Elijah Zina. The women just had a convention, and also we want to inform the public that we try by every means to get in touch with a representative from either of the two uh, candidates camp. So we could not, we only got one person to respond to us, and we could not get, the other party. So with that, we could not carry on the show for the women today. But we have brother Elijah Zina. He's on the phone. He's going to be speaking to us briefly about some, um, some of the events that took place, some of the activities from the women's convention. He's going to be sharing a little light on it. Go ahead, brother Zena.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I want to say before I get into that, I want to say thank you to all of the senior brothers who are on the show tonight and the host and the co-host. Um, you know, our church is missing on a lot of things, and exactly as Reverend said, we are in a technological world. The most effective way you can transmit information to people in this age and time is by leveraging the technology that you have on hand. And your message will go viral within a second the moment you appear on a platform that is transmitting information to a larger group of people. So the idea that the candidates don't want to appear on a show that is hosted by Lutherans and a platform for Lutherans, I just can't wrap my head around that because it sounds so, I don't know the terminology to use it on that, but I'm just going to leave it at that. But again, because in our African setting, we attach so much, we give all of the leadership responsibility to the leaders of our institution, government, and churches. So it appears as if though there are now rules and regulations that govern our institution. We got constitution within the LCA that govern election processes, and it also gives the election commission the opportunity to come up with other rules that they can apply. So if other candidates are using social media, Facebook, and putting up posters and things, why not appear? It doesn't make any difference. But well, we will leave it as it is. And that's what I made the statement that deception has taken dishonesty and deception. Because if you can post a poster but you can appear on a show, that's been very dishonest and having a lot of deception. So it's not really good for our church, and the church should be the one to set the example for the society. If the church is not in the position to set example for the society, then I don't know what our core values are anymore. So I will leave it at that. It go directed to the women's convention. According to a reliable source that I was in contact with when the women convention was going on, I heard that there were a lot of stuff going there. There were a lot of political candidates, bishopric candidates that went to the convention to run campaign and stuff like that. And the two ladies that were in the campaign or running for the presidency of the women, one of them was from St. Matthew, that thing that would be Aini, and the other one from Battlesville, that would be Yama. And it happens that Ani won the elections by a simple majority vote, according to the source. And then, but because Ani didn't come from a particular political camp that our people, majority of the people at the convention were supporting, there was this commotion that advisors of the women's department should be allowed to vote in order to break the tie with, in order to win the convention, the election over the lady who won it, because the lady was not in a particular camp. So that brought a heated argument at the convention, and the bishop was there that night during the election. The bishop was there when the lady won by the simple majority with 2 points over the other lady. But then when they broke on Sunday morning, the bishop, according to the source, the bishop came to church and supported the idea that they should allow the advancement of women to vote. And the other women said, no, we cannot allow them to vote. Our constitution does not call for that. And it was against the backdrop that the bishop notified the election commission, the election result, because the women disagree with him that the advisors cannot vote because they were not delegates. And there were everything all right now, and Mr. Scott is staying the women president up to this time. So that's the information that I have around that. And I just want to say one thing, like as a leader of an institution, I think you have to show transparency and honesty to the highest degree that you maintain your integrity. But if you start maneuvering and try to manipulate, and people see that you have a particular interest and that's the reason why you are doing such thing, it becomes glaring that you are not earnest in the process. So I think that's the reason why we having all of these things going on today, that people can appear on social media, election results are notified by the bishop, and everything coming from the bishop office. I don't think it's a good sign for our church, and I think our church has been in Liberia for a long period of time. We should be far ahead of this process by now, instead of keep doing the old thing that happened last year. Because every election we should go into reconciliation process. Reconciliation process would take a lot of money and a lot of time for the bishop who's going to be elected. At the end of the day, you'll be focusing on reconciliation or the agenda coming to an end, and you can do nothing for the LCL. So I think at this time, whoever going to be the bishop or those who are in the race, they have to focus. They got to take some decision, because if you appear on a show, I don't think the bishop going to single-handedly not disqualify you for running as a bishop. The election commission already qualified you to run. So I don't know why people are afraid. But thank you for the opportunity, and I will leave you at that.
Thank you very much, Brother Zina. Thank you so much. Brother Zina is the former president of the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship. According to him, he got that information from a reliable source. Um, but we also have Brother Jerome Jala. Brother Jerome Jala is on the phone. He was at the men's convention, and it also happened that Brother Jerome Jala uh, was at the women's convention, and um, and also it happened that Brother Jerome Jala is the just past president of the National National Lutheran Youth Fellowship. So Brother Jala is going to be giving us some information from the men's convention, and maybe he's going to throw in a little bit on the women convention. But we are trying every effort. My Lutheran Connection online TV is trying every effort to bring in a representative from each party to come here and discuss the women's convention. Brother Jala, are you there?
I'm here, Willie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the show. Greetings to all of you on the show tonight.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Everyone is listening. Can you throw a little bit
Yeah.
light on the men's convention and on also? I understand you were at the women's convention and you provided logistical support. I think I saw that comment. Yeah, I don't want to say you were helping with the elections now, but you provide logistical support. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me begin with the men's convention. It was great. The men's convention ended well, and by the way, it was held under the theme "A Call for Unity," with reference from 1 Corinthians 19:17 and St. John 17:11. So it was a great time, especially having my first official national men's convention. So it was great there. We had 6 of the 9 districts that were present at the convention. We had more attendance on late Friday and Saturdays. People are working; they need to follow up with some things before coming. But it was a great time there in Habel Faith Lutheran Church. We had some of the candidates showing up at the men's convention to share their platform with the men's auxiliary on what they intend doing with the church when they are given the space to serve as bishop. Flyers were being shared on their profiles, what they intend to do for the church if they are given the opportunity. So 3 of the candidates appear. Reverend Zise, Reverend Orita Miller Davis, and our own mother, Reverend Janice Gono. She was also there. So few things that the men look at was on the issue of engagement with districts that are not active with the national auxiliaries. how we can reach out to them to have them fully involved into supporting the work of the men's accelerator, how they can also be supported to the national church. We look at also the upcoming election, what role the men can play. There was some proposal that the men can come up with, let's say, proposed amendment in the constitution that we can have, let's say, this whole election issue just among the pastors. But then I was one person that I said to them, our church is congregational. If you do that, you try to kick out the lay people for decision making. So until that is done, you have amendment in the constitution. The men cannot do anything to say you want to overturn or the rights of the laity into electionary matter of our church, especially electing a bishop of our church. So there was a discussion what is the role of the men in the upcoming election. So that was my position on that. The president reported. He talked on projects. We have currently 2 projects ongoing. The National Men's Lapa project that is ongoing. We hope that those of you in the diaspora can also support the men's department by getting some of the lapas as the means of supporting. We also have the Picre project that gets started. We also have the farm that is upcoming. So a lot of things that the national male leadership is doing, they are doing well in their leadership. So those are common, some of those things that we hear. And then we also had soccer activity on Saturday. The bishop was with us on Saturday, and then he also preached on Sunday. By the way, we won Habel Old Timer 2-1 during that match. And I was opportune to play also my first national men match, and the 2 essays came from me. Willie,
Wonderful.
The 2 essays came from me. The first goal was scored by my senior brother Philip Mackay, and the national youth president also played for the men. So they were our 2 goal scorers. Yeah, but it was a great time in Habel. On Sunday, our mothers came from the National Women's office to celebrate the day with us. So it was a great time in Habel, and we are looking forward to the bishopric election in April. And while we said that means we are going to be there and we're going to engage the candidates in a respectable manner that we all can see how we can safeguard the process of the election. So it was a great time. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. I know you. It is already late in Liberia. And you are at the women convention. So you care to probably like maybe you can just summarize maybe in a minute or two. Your involvement with it and what you observed.
Yeah. I was invited at the women's convention by the leadership. My wife and I was invited. But she was not chance to be there due to her studies. So I went there on Saturday along with the national men president, Molbak Bolayan. So we got there on Saturday. It was well attended. The play was colorful with many women from across the 9 districts of the LCL, and the area was jam-packed. I can say that. So the hall was being used, or the cafeteria was being used for the hosting of session. But that area was packed, and then you even had some women out. So when we arrived there, the process started. Election commissioners have already called people in, but then there was this incident with the electricity, some electrical shock, and then someone yelled from outside that "oh, fire!" and then people started running. Some people got injured. Some people went off. So we managed, there were some pastors around. We managed to help in the process. So people were still inside, some people were still fighting to get out. The Reverend Boa, the national men president, Philip Mackay, we all was there. Jerome Kwali, a lot of men was there. to help calm the situation. So we told them, looking at the number of group of people over there, it will be prudent enough that people can just be called in, and then you cast a vote, you go out, because looking at the area was very crowded. So we got into the space without being invited, but to help the process, we saw that the election commission was overwhelmed with the kind of work they were doing. So we decided to help the process. Bishop was there, the general secretary was there, the treasurer was there, all at the entrance where we were calling people in, assisting the commissioners, calling people per district, calling people by parishes so that they could go in to vote. But prior to that process, people already started voting when the incident happened. So what I cannot confirm is as to whether those that voted prior to the incident voted again, because I was not in possession of any document. I was just calling people in per district. So whether people voted and what are the ballot paper that what happened, the vote that were taken, as to whether we started the whole process or those people re-voted. So that I cannot confirm. So after all of the candidates cast their vote, the delegates, and then we left the scene, and then we went into Salaye town. Up to 2 a.m. they were still on the accounting process when we left, and then we went to bed. And then on Sunday, the service started. We were all eager to get the election result, but then they said they wanted to announce the election result along with the Queen contest. So we left from Salaye town around 12. When we got to town, but then there was some incident that there was information that Bishop notified the election result on ground that the EC yet to be confirmed that the EC overturned the decision of the convention on certain people that was given voting right by the convention. So until then, I have not received any official information from the bishop on what reason that the election result was nullified. But yeah, as it stands, I cannot provide any further information on reason why the election result was nullified. But the election commission did not announce a winner. But that was the information we got after we left the scene. But we did not end the process. And we got information that some women they respected the bishop. Yeah. Even me in the process, even just to call names, I was being insulted by some women that I was supporting a particular candidate. I said, well, I don't have any. How will I have megaphone in my hand, the bishop sitting right there, the general secretary, everybody, then I telling someone who to vote for. And the information was not true. Other women was like in my favor, protecting and say, but Jerome is helping us in the process. He's not doing anything wrong. But we just left the scene, the national main president and I, and then we went to Salaye town. Yeah, so that's why
this is quite important. This is quite important, and it's good that we even stay here. We delay, to this point to get the story from you yourself, the story, and to also hear from our colleague who called earlier, regarding the same situation. I would like for you to stay on the phone, Jerome, a little bit, because I know my colleagues or even the Reverend would like to find out something from you since you were directly involved with the process. But here's the first question I'm going to ask you. Do you know the exact location where the bishop announced the nullification? Was it in a church on Sunday?
I believe so. I was in there. Like I said, service was on when I left on Sunday. The service had started already when Bishop went in here. So I don't know whether it was in service or where. I don't know.
But the nullification was not done on the day of the election. The election took place, the votes were counted, everything, and then it was during the service or after the service before you heard of the nullification, correct?
Yeah, I was on my way back to Monrovia when I got the information. that night we could not get the election result because it was just one observer. Someone said, "Oh, the other person won with 2 votes. Other person won with 1 vote," but the election commission did not announce any result.
Right. So, folks,
Yeah.
the reason why I asked that question is for us to basically understand that the election took place in spite of whatever electrical shock that was experienced. The election took place. The date of the election passed, and it was Sunday the next day. You know that the election result was supposed to be announced, and then the story about nullification came out. And interestingly, it is the name of the bishop that's in the middle of it. Whether or not they have issues with the process, but the bishop is the one who is being referenced as the one who nullified the election results,
Not the election committee.
not the election committee. That, for me, is concerning. I mean, I know we don't have details about the process or whatever led to the nullification, but the fact that the bishop is the one who announced the nullification and is taking effect, that is concerning, because here we have the bishop involved with the bishopric election. There is an issue. Here we have the bishop involved with the women's election. There is an issue. And the important thing to keep in mind here is that these two electoral processes have electoral committees that have the authority to preside over the election and announce the returns of the election. That is my concern. What does this say to us? I don't know if Revin wants to go first on this. I'm not taking anything face value. I'm not saying there were issues, and I understand the issues that occur, but just the fact that the bishop nullified the election, not the election committee, I'm concerned about that. I don't know if you guys have any views.
Yeah. Quickly before the
So-
Reverend can
so,
come in.
yeah.
Before the Reverend can come in, and Brother Jerome is always a regular contributor to us too as well from Liberia. So we try by every means. We try the Malutrin Connection platform online TV. We try to get a representative from this Annie Flomo's team. I will refer to it as a team instead of camp, and also from Sis Yaman Boas camp, team. I'm sorry, Sis Yaman Boas team. We tried reaching out, we couldn't get uh, a representative. We got a representative from Sis Annie's team, but we could not get a confirmation or a representative from Sis Yaman's team. So with that, we could not bring the representative from Sis Annie's team because we want to have a balanced conversation. That's the reason why we could not bring in the representative from Sis Annie's team. But howbeit, we're going to try again as much as possible this week. And again, it goes back to the same thing. This is a platform for all of us to come and discuss issues about our church. So, in as much as possible, we in as much as we try to go out there and try to work our very best way to get someone to come and give us, like our brother Jerome just gave us, and also thanks to brother Elijah for providing information. And like he said, this is a source he got his information from, a reliable source. But this is brother Jerome Jala, who was on the scene, and not only on the scene. Again, I will want to refer it to a logistical support. He only held the microphone, according to him, to call parishes by districts. So I don't think he was directly involved in the electoral process. He only held the microphone and called the Monrovia district, Bannersville, St. Matthew, St. Peter's, St. Andrews, just like that. I think in all fairness, he was just providing some assistance, but he was not directly involved with the elections. So again, it's very, very important. Sorry, go ahead.
So Willie, Yeah, before let me try to leave you. Maybe you could invite the election commission. Sis Freeman. She was a chairperson. She is the chairperson for the election. Or better still, you reach out to the current national women leadership. Probably they could provide detailed information about what really transpired about the process, the electoral process, or the service. I could not end the service because I need to come to be in town sooner.
Thank you.
Yeah. So those people could provide better information about what really what was the direct information from the bishop. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And just before Reverend Khan, I just want to also clarify again that I reached out to the election committee chairperson, Mother Comfort Freeman. I reached out to her via WhatsApp. She has not sent a response to me yet. I reached out to the special assistant to the bishop, commonly referred to as the BA, Bishop Assistance. He did not respond to me until to be honest, I told him that, okay, I'm not going to make follow up with you anymore because I tried my best in every way to contact you and you are not responding to me. So, I mean, that's okay. And I'm not going to follow up with you. So it was then when he said, he sent me no response, but I've already committed myself. I'm not going to follow up again with the bishop assistants and Reverend Chilo. I think he's a nice guy. His position, I mean, as the bishop assistant, we can't get the bishop. We should get the bishop assistant.
Probably you want to say why. I want you to talk about that, Willie, because it's sensitive before Reverend can. Probably you want to say why you will not follow up with me again, because I'm not sure that was the first time. I think
I've followed up. I've contacted Reverend Chilo on so many occasions.
Reverend Logan.
Reverend
Logan. Yeah.
Reverend Logan. On Facebook Messenger, on WhatsApp, I asked and I got his number to contact him directly on WhatsApp. And you will see the messages. He saw those messages. The thing about WhatsApp is that when you send a message, once the person sees those messages, you will get 2 green check marks. That's the thing about WhatsApp. You will see 2 green check marks. It means the person has received those messages and have read those messages. Okay, so the person, I mean, he did not respond to me until when I told him I'm not going to follow up with you anymore. And also the women president, I've tried on so many occasions to reach out to her via Facebook. I don't have a WhatsApp number. I reached out to her on Facebook Messenger. She had not even, just a hi, just an introductory hi, hello. She had not sent me a response yet. Again, we're going to try as much as possible to reach out. We want to get the women, and we want to make it clear. We're not coming here to investigate. We're not coming here to put someone like, quote unquote, on the bus, or for someone to come and say, oh, this person won or this person is over. We just want to know what's happening to this auxiliary. That's all. What happened at the convention? There are rumors going on, misinformation going out there. Okay, so who can we get the information from? Those from the women department, those that were there. And I want to say that clear also. I also got in touch with Mother Christina Pangbai. I reached out to Mother Christina Pangbai, okay, to come and provide information. And Sis Grace told me that in her response, she said that they are investigating, and she's one of the lead investigators about the electoral process there. So at this time, since they are investigating, she cannot appear. But she recommended that we reach out to Sis Annie and Sis Nyama to appear on the show for us to, get information from them. But both of them have not. So I'm trying.
Right. Let's go with Reverend and see what he has.
Go ahead, Reverend, so we can wrap this. Yeah.
Well, as I listen to everybody, especially when I hear about people shying away from coming here, then I want to say no wonder why the radio station we can't get in here and tell, because how are we going to run the radio station, because we have to have these same people coming and talking so that we can have the radio station running. And this is the way to begin. If they don't know, this is the way to begin, initially. So quickly, before I lost my thought, I wanted to tell Jerome to also tell the National Lutheran Youth, National Men Fellowship president to find a way to lobby his way here to this platform to come and tell us about the Lapa, what the proceeds will be used for. Because even also in the diaspora want to buy those Lapas. So Nana Jerome, his mouth people will come here and tell about the Lapa. We're not on our own. Yeah, so yeah, we need to know what the proceeds will be used for. We are excited that they got such Lapas.
Absolutely.
We want to see it sell, and we can do anything to make it sell, but we want to know what those proceeds will be used for. And because the men are the leaders of the church and should be taking the lead to tell us exactly what they will be doing. So that is it. And to the issue of the women election, when I was a boy in the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship, we had this issue that we normally used to laugh at the election commissions, because when an election commission is appointed by the president and the youth advisor, they all acknowledge that when election kick into being on Saturday, the presidency is technically on hold while that election is going on. And we will normally laugh because the president, immediately when the election result is announced, before the president even go ahead to start talking about a couple other things, he immediately dissolve.
I dissolve the election commission. That's true.
Because if it doesn't dissolve the commission,
they still got the power.
To tell him, Mr. President, whatever you're talking, he doesn't know what.
That's true.
The first thing the president, we all will be laughing at.
I dissolve. That's true.
First thing the president does right after the election, you can think that he got some mileage against the president, but he comes and says, "Look, without any delay, I do hereby dissolve the commission in the name of the Father." Everybody will be laughing, Mr. Commissioner. So I think even before the bishop came up with that statement, he would have been in the right position. I understand a lot of people flying on all the different social platforms and talking about what do you want the bishop to do. I agree, it's the responsibility of the bishop to keep the church stable. But when the issue of technicality, procedures are involved, sometimes we just gotta be careful how we say the bishop, protecting this church. Because the same people who are yelling at the bishop protecting this church, if we were before a board commissioner today, they will not be able to defend those things as per the procedures on the book. So for me, I would say if the election commission were not dissolved before the bishop came and acknowledged this election, then I think the bishop is in error. The election results should be maintained, and the women should work with a new code of leaders. People, there will always be a winner and a loser in an election. Yeah. You can never. Bishop Sianglo, he said no. When he won the first bishop election, he won the landslide. When he won his second term, it was tight. It was tight. He knows the story. He said, "Will always say, well, where all the other votes came from?" It was tight. So there will always be tight elections based upon visions, based upon who are the people in the race and stuff like that. So I think, we at the verge, this church, and a lot of people have always said, if you want your Christmas will be good, you can know from the New Year. The reason why a lot of people are getting, you can know from the Eve, a lot of people are getting so much afraid now with the current decision of the bishop, based upon thinking about we are closer to another very big election that has the propensity to bring a lot of dissatisfaction from candidates. Are we just going to stay there and the bishop say, well, we will hold on to this one and move forward? So, my take on this is that I think the bishop should let the women have the leader that they have elected. And those who feel disenchanted by the way the result went, we will know that they are good leaders if they work with the leadership for the next term. And hopefully during the next term, they can get elected. That's just my view on that.
Again, folks, we want to say thank you very much. Thank you for keeping there with us. Today has been one of the days that we've really gone long, and it was very, very, very much important that we had to extend it up until this time. To our ambassador there in Freetown, Sierra Leone, we want to say again, it's always a pleasure being with you here on the show. Our Reverend, he has just been extended that
Fantastic. Very
official,
fantastic.
yes, that official team membership. He is a part of the Lutheran Connections platform. We're gonna be carrying on the official ceremony, like right after the show. And to our brother there in Connecticut, we want to say it's a pleasure again. We missed you last week. We are glad. We thank God that you are here today. Again, we want to say a great good evening again to everyone. Next Sunday, we are going to be here. The first Sunday of the month, we are going to be here. We are going to have a great show again, as always. You're going to see the team. The team is going to be here. Brother Abel Lewali couldn't be here today again due to some other engagements with his organization. But again, until next week, Sunday, we want to say, God bless you.